Hey everybody, it's Astral Hex Encounter, and I'm back with just a basic video, but an exciting video nonetheless. This is a look at what came in the mail today. I had backed FEROX and TRASH LORDS from Craft Fair Games on, I believe it was Indiegogo. I always get confused which site I've backed what. I've backed a few projects online lately. Not a lot. I can definitely see the temptation with wanting to just get in there and back a bunch of things, because you do because you're backing it, it's money spent, but you don't have anything for a little while. It takes a little while for the actual products to catch up to you. So I can see how easy it would be to go down a rabbit hole and all of a sudden you're just bombarded with a ton of stuff that you forgot about. I've really kept it basic with the few things that I have backed. But this one I couldn't resist. When FEROX first came out, probably, what was it, 2 years ago? I'm not exactly sure the day. I want to say the date. I want to say 2014, but I don't know if that's right. I think it might have been 2015. Anyway, when it originally came out and I saw the videos and I read a bit about it, I was sold instantly. I thought it was such a great idea and looked like such a fun, brutal game. But I just couldn't afford to jump on it right away at the time, so I had to let it pass. Fooling myself into believing that it would still be around. I'll pick it up at a later day when I have some extra cash. But of course, with stuff like this, there was a small run of them. It was uber successful from what I understand, and it really took off, and people snatched it up and it was out of print. So when I heard that they were going to be doing a second edition with, I believe, an expansion in it as well. Sorry, let me just wobble you around there. I immediately jumped on it. There was as with any of these GoFundMe or Indiegogo or whatever you're looking at, there's always a few categories that you can donate. One that I was really tempted to put my money towards was a version where you and 5 of your friends would become characters in the game. So they would create some original art based off of, I'm assuming, photos from you. They would do some original paintings and make you and your friends a part of the game, which I thought was such a fantastic incentive. A really, really great idea. Much applause. I don't know if that particular option got fully backed or not. I'd have to look again, but such a great idea. It's something that, especially if you're into kind of like these more, I mean, these are just a couple of guys who are making these games and spending their nights putting it all together, which is why it just takes time. There's just a couple of guys sitting around drinking beer with their friends and putting everything into baggies and putting it into boxes and getting stuff screen printed and that sort of thing. I think they did all the screen printing in-house. I think they did it all themselves. So when you're dealing with that level, to get then on top of it a chance to get some original art and really make it a one-off kind of game for yourself is such a great idea. I hope they offer something like that in the future. I'm assuming that these projects have been successful enough that they're going to continue doing games. I would hope so anyway, because it's a hell of a start. So my love of Italian cannibal movies has been talked about before on my other channel, the Comic Crack channel. I'm a huge fan of Cannibal Holocaust, including the grisly scenes. Do I completely agree with it? No, but I think it adds to the movie, honestly. Do I think it's something that should happen again? No, absolutely not. But the fact is the movie has been made already. It came out in the 70s. It exists. And I really liked the movie. It had quite an effect on me. Just that level of insanity in a horror movie is something that I hadn't experienced before. So this kind of takes that Cannibal Holocaust kind of genre theme to a game, a 2-player game. You can see right here, let me just focus on it. This is adults only. It is a horror game. So if there's any images, we're gonna have a quick look at all the components. I'm not gonna go into too much detail about how to play the game. Those videos already exist. If you don't know the Craft Fair Games guys, there's a little look at the beer cozy that came with the game for me. They do have a Facebook, a Twitter, and an Instagram, and I would add to that they also do have a YouTube page. And on that YouTube page, they've got a few videos when the first edition came out of FEROX. I think they have 3 videos, each of them just under 10 minutes, where they walk you through the gameplay, the setup, and then the actual playing of the game. Really handy. It isn't the most complex game ever. That's not a criticism, it's just a fact. Doesn't mean that it's not a fun game. It looks like a hell of a lot of fun, and I can't actually wait to play it. So getting back to my train of thought, there was also a Grindhouse edition where the game comes in a kind of a VHS clamshell case, which I think is a great idea too, with some different artwork on it. Really original stuff. Really great. Really grisly. Yeah, a hell of a lot of fun. So I applaud them. So this showed up in the mail today, and I've been waiting for weeks now. There's been updates, and when they started mentioning through the updates that they had started sending things out, I just assumed that I'd be having to wait for quite a while since I'm up here in Canada and they're in the States. I figured that mine wouldn't come for at least another week. But lo and behold, in the mailbox today, glory be, FEROX and Trash Lords. If I didn't mention, this is the other game. So the one that I backed was for the 2 games themselves. Again, there was other levels of backing where you could get a bunch of other stuff. I think there was one where you could get some original art as well. But this is what I could afford. And I'm really fucking glad that I jumped on this sucker. So let's have a quick overview of the cards and stuff. The premise is that you're part of a news team or a journalist crew who's crash landed in the forest, and you have to make your way through the jungle to a chopper that's going to rescue you and your friends. While you're there, you come across 4 different tribes played by another player. 4 cannibal tribes that are set out to kill you, just as you are set out to kill them. The gameplay takes place with these cards. You start out with this card that's stuck to the table. You start out with this card right here, the crash site. Slide those out of there for a sec. You start out with this one. Eventually, you build a path. You build a path until you get to the card with the chopper on it. If even one of your team makes it back to the chopper, you win the game. If nobody makes it back, the cannibal tribes have won the game and slaughtered all the people that have came to cause hell. So you start by playing 1 card at a time. How you move to the next card is all of these red skulls. You basically have to litter the jungle with the bodies of your enemies. So whether that's the film crew, whether that's the cannibal tribes, once you get into head-to-head kind of fighting action, represented by these cubes here, the different tribes or the different colors, these ones are the ones that go for the journalist player, and they just track the health on each card. There's a health bar that you can see on the left there. The cubes, after battle, start littering the forest like so, and once you've filled up a card, that's when the next card comes into play, and so on. Each player has a deck where they build a hand each turn, various different cards. We won't go through all the cards again. There's videos already that exist. I don't want to go into too much of the cards anyway, because that's part of the fun of the game. And then the tribes have their own stack of cards as well, with both attacks, defenses, and actions. Each of the groups get their own dice. So these 3 dice are for the journalist, and then there's various colored dice for the different tribes. On the top of the cards here, for example, the script girl has a 1, the pilot has a 2, cameraman has a 1. That signifies how many dice each character can roll during their turn. The dice have 3 different sides. One is blank, where nothing happens. One is kind of some bones, which means that you yourself get injured. And then the skull is you've killed your opponent, one of your opponent's pieces, or brought down your opponent's health 1 level. Obviously, the more skulls you roll, the more hits you're going to have, the quicker it is going to be to fill up these cards. That's pretty much the basics of it. These cards here are part of the expansion, and I'm not sure exactly when they play. I have a feeling they play for each different landscape that comes on, and it just gives you another set of rules just to go along with the game as you're playing to increase the difficulty or throw in some randomness to it. That is pretty much it. I'm going to now read the rules, and I'm probably going to just go through the game myself here, but I'm not going to film that. Like I said, there's videos that exist. Check out the Craft Fair Games guys. Watch their videos. Really, really entertaining. Fantastic little company. I don't know if they have any, if they made any extra copies that are available on their website. But if you are interested in it, highly recommended. Check them out and support small DIY gamers.